All right. Welcome back to Arches. Whew, after my emotional mess of fucking crying that I did back in episode 1 of this, the very first episode, I'm calm, I'm collected. It's just games that hits topics of like friendship and family and how important they are. They just they hit me. They hit so close to home and really pulls on my heartstrings. And it doesn't help that this intro, this title music, reminds me a lot of Life is Strange, which I've cried to pretty much all of the games in Life is Strange. But I love these I love these types of games, even though this is more of a psychological horror. But enough yapping. Let us continue to reading. Cameron watches Dev step back, brushing his paws against each other loudly. Well, I'd say that's rather cozy, don't you think? I've seen actual homes that look worse, so yeah, I'd say so. Cameron eyes the couch and slowly sits on the edge, not quite trusting it despite the sheet. So, what do you know about paranormal investigation? You said you did research? Turns out you just run around with a flashlight and call the ghost a bitch. Good one. Damn, sorry. Didn't know the reality show ghost hunts were such a sore spot for you. They single-handedly ruined the credibility of actual investigations. Well, they brought it more attention, right? Anyway, all I really know is what you do. EVP stuff, taking pictures, just sitting around and waiting. Stuff like that. That's the start. Actually, I was thinking you deal with most of that stuff. So what I mainly researched had to do with those who are gifted. It's almost physically impossible for the coyote to use that word to people. Oh, sorry. It's almost physically impossible for the coyote to use that word to describe people like him. Oh yeah, I wanted to say earlier how happy I was you looked through that forum. It must be annoying just hearing me go on about it when I don't even experience it. No, you're fine, Dev. Actually, Cameron much preferred to hear it from Dev. Half of the people on the forums were clearly liars with a savior complex. And then the other half were contacting these assholes to help communicate with... Shit, what the fuck? Why can't I read? And then the other half were contacting these assholes to help communicate with a dead loved one. Cameron couldn't stomach it and just ended up looking at a blog that seemed a bit more legit. So, what did you find out? The way the bear is lit up now that they're talking about investigating reminds Cameron that he needs to at least try. Well, according to these psychics, it's pretty simple if you have the extra sense. First, approach the location with clear intentions. I'm here to see or hear something from the past. Second, keep an open mind, which is something I promised to do. And finally, if you sense that the presence is hostile, always remember that it can hurt you. In these cases, they may not actually have ever been a person. I wouldn't worry about that demon shit. Even I have a hard time believing in that. Hey, there's something we can agree on. There's something we can agree on. Now I'm gonna go out on a limb here and assume nothing terrible happened in this room. Well, I also look for a specific room, right? I don't want you to tell me what happened, but I also assume this is a bit of a test. Well, I don't want to call it a test. I'm gonna be recording and looking for the thing that happened in this room too. What did happen in this room? The only thing I remember... Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. I will. I'm looking at these, or I'm looking at Arches in the mind as someone who has read Echo. And I know this is a standalone story, and I think you technically don't need to read Echo to know what's happening in here. But I feel like, um, as long if you haven't read Echo, I would probably recommend reading that first, so you fully know the context for the shit I'm saying. But also, I guess mild spoilers or actual spoilers um for when I do mention things about Echo, which I I won't put warnings on. I won't put warnings when I'm about to spoil like Echo, or maybe I'll try to say warnings at least. But I don't really edit my videos too much, so again, I'll try my best. Anyways, back to this novel. The most I can think about, hmm, assuming hypothetically if this happened on Flynn's route, did anything happen in this room on Flynn's route? I don't know. I mean, the thing I remember is that on Leo's route, the embrace appeared. The embrace? Was that what's called? The tulpa. The tulpa, the embrace, shadow chase, whatever that ghostly image tulpa that Leo created. He appeared in that room. And also I guess Brian tracked down Chase and Leo and fucking kidnapped them. Anyway, I can't think of anything else that happened in this room. Just thought you might want to see if you sense anything and compare with what actually happened. I think that's a good idea. I'm just gonna do some light touch sensing, I think they call it. So I won't see anything, but just sense what might have happened. But tell me if you feel things that aren't right, of course. I'll be fine. Alright, I'll get started. We won't go super late tonight. Just want to get a feel for things. Sure, I'll get started by opening my mind and making my intentions clear. Okay, babe. I love you. Devon leans in and kisses Cameron on the head. Then Cameron watches as Dev turns on the lantern, plunging them into darkness. Turns off the lantern. Lugging around equipment while trying to be quiet about it quickly gets Devon sweating through his shirt. He hadn't really thought about the heat, even when Cameron was complaining about it, but his shirt had been plastered to his fur, and he had to take it off. He's making the extra effort to not disturb the coyote because Cameron seems to be really Cameron seems to really be trying, his eyes closed and ears up. Devon didn't even need to ask him to take out his phone so he could record audio. He just did it. And to Devon, that just proves how much Cameron wants to do this. As Devon goes about testing his equipment, Cameron shifts and mumbles something. Dev perks up. Hey, hon, I'm right here. You alright? I need to get more comfortable. At the same time, he adjusts himself so that his feet are on the suitcase in front of him. Okay. Something about Cameron's demeanor is bothering Devon. And Cameron's words were a little slurred, and he does seem kind of not quite there. Should he pull him out of it? Devon had never seen a psychic in action before, so maybe this is normal, like a trance. He hopes it's normal, because even if Devon can find his answers, he'd give them up for Cameron to discover he isn't psychotic. As he's fiddling with his EMF sensor, dread suddenly clutches at his chest. What if the opposite happened, and Cam really did lose his mind? Like when his mom got psychosis. If that happens, Devon is only now realizing that he would be responsible, and how could Cameron forgive him for that? How could he forgive himself? Shit. Dev hisses under his breath. What the fuck is he doing? Bringing his boyfriend to this room where that happened. He was usually alone or with his friends when doing these investigations, and his want to see something always overpowered the fear. He just assumed Cam would be used to scary shit, especially after he described that flat-faced creature in a raincoat that he'd been seeing since he was a kid. Wait, hold on. It's only now occurring to me. The flat-faced creature with a raincoat. The socket man? Did the socket man appear to him as a kid? It's only now occurring because when they first described the flat-faced creature, or at least the socket man in Echo, or the socket-faced man in Echo, they described him having like the holes, either like the holes in his eyes and his mouth open, and then there's like an outlet socket. And I was like, yeah, but flat-faced creature in a raincoat. Maybe this is one of his hallucinations. Maybe he really did see the Flynn. Shit, I should have said spoilers. But maybe Cam did see the socket man, because of course the socket man can do this teleporting time travel bullshit that even he presumably can't control. Because I think Jenna used to see that creature as a kid, but I don't know if she described it as someone in a raincoat. He just assumed. Why is it only now he's realizing what the consequences can be? Well, it's because the things Cameron had told him by the lake had changed a lot. Changed a lot of things in the bear's mind. This isn't something a loving partner does to another partner. And I think this part also made me remember, or it reminds me of back towards the beginning of this novel, where the narrator says, like, a good boyfriend would turn the car around and not take his boyfriend to the haunted place that could potentially fuck him up. And now, of course, or not of course, but like, Dev choosing to continue on with the investigation like normal. He's fucking using Cameron for his own selfish reasons. And again, tying back to the what would a good boyfriend do at the very beginning. So, it also makes me curious, like, what kind of narrator this person is. If this is even a person telling a story. Devon knows that the coyote has some kind of ESP abilities, but that didn't mean he also didn't have other issues that could fuck him up. That didn't mean that possibly seeing these awful things wouldn't cause him to develop more issues. All the wind taking out of his sails, Devon stares at the ground, thinking. Then he gets up and paces for a bit, beginning to make up his mind, deciding that right after this, they're done, no matter what. The bear looks at the closet, the one where a wolf from the Meseta Tribal Council hung himself in the early 90s. Oh, wait, this is the room that, I believe it was John Begay, right? I think it's John Begay's the Jenna's ancestor. When he killed himself after being accused of like being a pedophile, right? Hmm. If only he could see one thing, just one sliver of proof that she's okay on the other side, he'd be at peace with all this. Oh. Really, the biggest hurdle ahead of him is the embarrassment of ditching his plans and figuring out how to tell Cameron why. Dev lets out a shuddering sigh, standing in the closet, looking at that bar, wondering if it's the same thing that the wolf used. Wait, the wolf? Hold on. The wolf from the Meseta. I mean, shit. She's a fox, right? She's a fennec. She's a fennec. That also means her parents or her ancestors were fennecs too. Because the Hendricks were the Sorry, sorry, I don't remember. My knowledge of Echo's history is fucking blurry. Devon feels something. Not a good something. A chill runs up his spine, and suddenly he's shivering. No way. It's actually happening. Holy shit. Holy shit. It's all he can manage to say. It's happening, but it feels so wrong. Then a fear that he's never known before takes over. He wants to turn around. He wants to call up to Cameron, but it's like something is around his neck, holding him in place. And then he hears a terrible sound behind him. Cameron knows something is happening for sure. It's scary, but at the same time, it's making him question what he'd always believed. Oh my god, is this a point of view switch? Had Devon been right about this stuff? Had he just misunderstood himself for so long? He could sense someone, nothing like the monsters he'd seen in the past. Instead, this was a man in a suit with a bolo tie. He was sad, he was angry, and he was terrified. Cameron knew this was often what psychics described when talking about sensing people from the past. You feel their most intense moment in life. This man, this wolf, he's going to do something terrible. And while Cameron is marveling over this, the wolf suddenly changes. At the same time, Cameron feels his focus turn to him. This gives the coyote to pause, because now this presence was trying to interact with him. Was this right? Cameron thinks it could be, but something doesn't feel right about it. Like this isn't what he thinks it is. But he supposes that anyone doing this for the first time would feel it to be strange. Maybe if he was doing the light sensing wrong, the point is to listen to the past like a recording. This direct communication is scaring the coyote, but this could be his chance to answer Dev's question, and his own question for that matter. I'm sorry to bother you. What's after death? Where do we go? It feels stupid and clumsy, but it's all that comes to his mind, so Cameron asks it over and over. There's a long, empty pause, and then something like a cackle. It almost sounds fake, like a Halloween toy, but it's dark, mean, and it's making fun of him. All the feelings of wonder and hope for a breakthrough are deflated instantly. He needs Dev, he needs to open his eyes. Cameron's eyes are heavy, and he can barely focus. Something has gone terribly wrong. The president's evil, malicious. This isn't a person. Now, all that the coyote can sense is that a profound tragedy had just taken place. He needs Devon, and he thinks he can see him as his vision begins to slowly focus. Oh! Shut the fuck up! At first, Cameron doesn't understand what he's seeing. How is Dev standing like that? Why isn't he moving? He realizes why over the next few seconds. The unnatural way Dev's weight seems to pull up at his neck says it all. Cameron starts screaming, but it's weak, muffled, barely a wheeze from his throat. He can't move. Paralysis. This isn't real. This is sleep paralysis. But something about this is so fucked, so real, and he couldn't have fallen asleep. He's almost positive about that. But even if he had, his boyfriend could actually be hanging himself while the coyote sits uselessly on the couch. Terror begins to engulf him. How could this happen? How could he do this? How? Cameron tries screaming again, But again, it's just a wheeze of breath. He stares at Devon's contact image instead of Devon dead in the closet. He took that picture in college 5 years ago and just a month into their relationship. At the time, it was a token to show his other gay friends, to prove he had a boyfriend, and that he was a handsome bear. And he'd never changed it, even though he had no one to show off to anymore. How the hell did they end up here? The phone picks up and switches to speaker automatically. Cameron knows deep down that this must be a dream, but Devon is still hanging in the closet. And he's overcome by the terror that this could be a partial dream, and that the worst part of it is real. It makes Cameron try and fail to scream again. You want to know, like... Cameron stares at the phone, unable to understand through the static, but able to recognize the voice. You said you wanted to know what, like, to die? It's like drowning forever. Conscious forever while you suffocate for what made you happy when you were alive. And again, you don't believe in anything. So what you really want to know is what it's like to disappear. Because you're scared. You tell yourself you want to die, that you wish your mom didn't save your worthless life, that you deserve it. Now you tell yourself that if it weren't for me, you'd have ended things back in college. We both know that's a lie, because you're a fucking coward. You'll stay alive as long as you can be with someone who can keep you alive. I could have treated you like absolute shit the past 5 years, and you'd still be around today. You fucking begged Dylan not to leave you, just weeks after he punched you and gave you that scar. The one you said you got from falling against a cabinet. You're sick. Meanwhile, you let me put you in this situation. You said you wanted it. Do you still want it? No, please, God, no. Cameron can't even move his lips. Anyway, I'm getting a little off topic, aren't I? You wanted to know what the afterlife is like. I'll give you an idea. Devon's voice becomes more muffled. Yo, Lupita, tell my boyfriend what it's like. It's quiet for a moment, and Cameron just sits in stunned misery, just waiting. A terrible demonic scream screeches through the phone, and Cameron's fur bristles all over his body, and he fights this prison that he's in with everything he has, and finally breaks free. It takes Devon a moment to realize the terrible sound is coming from Cameron. He's never heard him scream like that. He's never heard him make a sound like that before. At that moment, whatever it is that has a hold on the bear dissolves, and Devon turns around, heaving for breath. When Dev looks at him, he sees Cameron's eyes are wide open. Cameron? Cameron makes that sound again. Though Devon has no idea what Cameron's seeing, he knows that it's something terrible. Devon feels himself beginning to panic. Baby, please! What's happening? Cameron just stares back, and Devon finally snaps. Cameron! Devon is stepping out of the closet, when suddenly Cameron lunges off the couch, making a feral sound. The look in the coyote's eyes is so intensely unlike him that Devon draws back in fear. Honey, it's me! To Dev's shock, Cameron's paws fly to the bear's neck, but instead of squeezing like he thinks he's going to, they rip at the thick fur there. Wait, stop! Devon manages to catch Cameron's paw in his own much larger paws, easily restraining the smaller male. Cameron continues to stare at Devon's neck, seeming to search intently, then he looks up at Dev's face. I saw you dead. You called me and screamed at me. Though Devon doesn't understand, he can tell this wasn't one of Cameron's typical night terrors. The look on his face says it all. Fuck! Shit, excuse me. I'm really sorry. I'm driving you to Peyton right now. Or whatever the hell you want to go. But as Devon tries to pull him to the door, Cameron resists. Wait, just let me catch my breath, okay? Okay. Just take deep breaths, okay? Devon fumbles with the lantern until he turns it on. Then he stands next to Cameron for a few moments, listening to him sob. Can I at least hold you, please? Cameron leads toward him as an answer. While Dev strokes his head, Cameron starts to rub his back, like he knows that Dev had been terrified too. I'm fine. It was just a really intense vision. I'm so sorry. I've never seen you like that before. You scared the absolute shit out of me. Did you think I was attacking you? Huh? You were going after my neck, sort of. Oh, no, I saw you hanging in the closet. Cameron's breath hitches in his chest. Like, from your neck. Oh, shit. Yeah, and it was so fucking real. They hold each other in silence for a while, Devon mulling over what Cameron just told him. Devon no longer has doubts that Cameron is psychic, but right now that doesn't matter. He just wants the coyote to feel safe again. Devon? Yeah, honey? I think you're right. What about? Something happened. I don't know if it's ghosts or whatever the hell that could have been. But that wasn't just me. I've never felt or seen things like that before. There's more to this than me being crazy. There has to be. We can talk about this when we're in Peyton, okay? Dev, I promise to be honest with you, and I need to tell you something now, otherwise I probably never will. What is it? Dev's heart starts to pound as he sees the look on Cameron's face. Lupita was in this vision, Dev. But please believe me when I say that I don't think it was really her, but... What? Cameron hesitates. Cameron, please tell me. I'm really sorry, but I heard her. It was awful. I don't know. It was just a scream. It was horrible. The floor seems to fall out from under Devon, and he feels like he's falling into an abyss. Cameron watches as the motel parking lot disappears into the night. They had left most of their stuff behind in the room, only bringing along what they absolutely needed. Cameron had wanted to take it a bit slower, to think things over before running away like this. And weirdly enough, it was Devon that was ushering him out as quickly as he could. Well, no, it made sense. What was truly weird was how Cameron had felt and how he still feels now. Despite what had just happened, despite the absolute horror of it all, there's a part of Cameron that still wants to stay. Cameron has to assume that this is nothing like what Dev had seen in his previous investigations, that maybe he also felt that overwhelming feeling of wrongness. But it also feels wrong to just leave after hearing what he had just heard. He'd expect Dev to want to stay after Cameron told him about Lupita. And if Dev had asked him to stay, Cameron would have done so, if only to search for better closure after hearing her scream. Despite Dev's calm appearance, Cameron knows that his mind must be in turmoil right now. Now, with the night ending like this, he thinks that maybe he shouldn't have told Devon what he heard. Yeah, he promised to be honest about it, but the hallucination? No. The vision felt like a lie somehow, a trick. It felt real. It happened, but it also felt like something nefarious was behind it all. He felt it when the wolf focused on him, as if that unseen something had taken the wheel and started steering things where it wanted them to go. Even if he has no idea what that something could be, Cameron hopes that's the case. The alternative is that the afterlife really is only suffering, and that would mean his mother is in the same place. That everyone's going to that place. Cameron squirms in his seat, the feeling of a suffocating dread creeping up under his neck. Drowning forever. Cameron suddenly turns to look at his boyfriend, unable to deal with the awkward silence any longer. Devon? Devon tilts his head slightly in Cameron's direction, brows raised to show he's listening. Yeah, honey? He doesn't take his eyes off the road. It's either because it's nighttime, or more likely because of what they just dealt with. The bear is being notably cautious. Still, there's a sense of urgency in his driving, like he's trying to get out of there as fast as he can. Cameron struggles to find the right words. Hey, let's talk when I get on the freeway, okay? I just gotta focus right now. Cameron can't wait until then. Are we coming back? Cameron sees Dev's brows rise again, this time in surprise. No, of course not. We're done. I'm an idiot for doing this in the first place. And again, I'm sorry. Cameron can't quash the feeling that he should be the one apologizing right now. That he should be the one apologizing. But there's a theme park in Peyton called Southwest. There's a theme park in Peyton called Southwest Adventures. I thought about going there at the end of our investigation, but we could do that tomorrow instead. Dev pauses, apparently waiting for a response, but Cameron can't think of one to give him. I think it could be fun. Sorry, yawned there for a second. Cameron is almost certain that's the same word Devon used just before they left to describe how this investigation would feel. Fun. I think we need to come back. We can't just leave things like that. That was just so fucked. Cameron sees Dev grit his teeth, and the coyote feels himself recoil a bit, like he did on a daily basis with Dylan. Sorry, No, you're fine. I'm having trouble seeing the goddamn road. Let's just leave it until I can see where I'm going, okay, hun? The coyote steels himself. Dude, imagine they're trapped in Echo. That'd be crazy. The coyote steels himself. He shouldn't ever feel afraid of Devon. He doesn't need to. I think we should come back tomorrow. Keep going like you planned. There's something more to this, and I want to help find out what it is. He says it firmly, in a way that he hopes shows Devon that he is not completely fragile, even if he did break down in the motel room. But Devon is quiet, and Cameron feels himself start to get a little frustrated that he's being ignored. But then the bear responds. Oh shit, my bad. No. I don't think so. I'll probably come back, but with another psychic. I'm not gonna put you through that ever again. Despite knowing Devon means no offense by that, Cameron feels offended, like Devon doesn't think he's good enough or strong enough to do this. But I want to. Especially if you're just gonna come back. You think I'm just gonna sit at home knowing you're back out in this hellhole? Listen, Cameron, I've been to a lot of haunted places, but there's something different about this town that feels really off. Fucked, like you said, and I don't want you anywhere near it. You said to pull you back if things go south, and they went south. Now it's Cameron who grits his teeth. But I want to. Do you still want it? I know you need to find answers, but after feeling what I felt, I need answers too. Dev's careful maneuvering alongside the broken road hits a pothole and the interior shakes. Devon winces. Babe, please, let's talk about this later. I just want to get us to Peyton safely right now. And just like that, Cameron's determination dries up. He hates himself for being such a coward. Things had always felt unequal in their relationship, but it was rare for Dev to say it out loud, to tell the coyote what's good for him, even though Cameron told him what he wanted. It's nothing like it was with Dylan, but the feeling is similar, and Cameron doesn't like that. Well, what if I don't want you to come back here either? Devon takes a deep breath, but manages to keep calm. Then we can talk about it when we're safely back home. Cameron goes quiet again. They're halfway past the lake, the body of water looking like a giant, dark pit, except where the moon glitters on its surface, and that's when Cameron sees something out of the corner of his eye. There's something on the road between the two craters of broken asphalt. Cameron stares for several seconds, not sure if he's seeing what he thinks he's seeing. Something between the road? He waits for Devon to say something, to wonder what the hell that is in front of them. But he says nothing, almost like he doesn't see it. Yet, there it is, right in front of them. And it's right where Devon is about to go, and the bear isn't stopping. Cameron manages to jerk himself out of his stunned gaze. Oh my god, Dev! Look! Huh? What? Dev finally looks at Cameron, his eyes off the road, and still the Jeep moves forward. Stop! Why isn't he stopping? The coyote does the first thing that comes to his mind. Time slows down. It's just like what happened back in high school, right before he got hit by a car while skateboarding. He has more time to react now than he did then, though, and he slides his arm under his seatbelt to get free and reaches across Devon's side. He grabs the wheel, and even though Devon is starting to brake, it's not fast enough, and they're less than 20 feet away from hitting it. The coyote doesn't even think, acting on pure instinct. Cameron turns the wheel to the right, hard. Devon can't comprehend what Cameron's doing before they hit something, and the jolt is far worse than any pothole he'd hit on the road. First, he had been thrown to the left, slamming into his window before he bounces back toward Cameron. Then the bear is thrown into his seatbelt. In the back of his mind, he's aware that Cameron is half out of his own seatbelt, having been thrown sideways over the center console. Driven by what feels like pure reflex, Devon throws his arm across the coyote in an attempt to hold him back. Cameron's muzzle meets the bear's thick arm before his forearm smacks into the screen of the head unit. A numbing, tingling feeling explodes across his entire arm. Oh, fuck! Devon brings his arm to his chest, cradling it as he winces. Are you all right? Cameron's breathless voice next to him is enough to reassure Dev that the coyote isn't seriously injured. The airbags hadn't been deployed, even though the impact had felt serious. Yeah, my funny bone. What about you? Let me see your face. Devon tries to grab Cameron's muzzle and to have a closer look at him. Shit, my bad. It's hard to see with only the glow of the Jeep's headlights, now dimmed from the swirling dust kicked up by the accident. The Cameron pulls away, opening his door to get out. Cameron, what? The coyote yelps as he seems to use his footing almost immediately and falls hard. Cam! Devon buckles his seatbelt and almost tries to climb out of Cameron's side of the Jeep. Then, realizing what he's doing, opens his own door to get out, almost falling himself as his feet touch uneven ground. Dust coats his mouth as he looks up the road, and immediately he can still see Echo from here. He knew this was going to happen. That something was going to prevent them from getting out. He could feel it since he started driving. He just didn't expect Cameron to cause it. The Jeep is tilted forward, the front wheels wedged into a deep trench carved out by years of flooding along the edge of the road. Dev stumbles around the front of the Jeep, squinting against the headlights before looking down where Cameron had fallen, but he only sees blackness. Cameron? He starts to panic, seriously considering that the coyote could have fallen into a sinkhole, but then... Over here! Dev looks back toward the road, the dust finally clearing, and sees that Cameron is already there, standing in the middle of it, looking around confused like he's lost something. What the fuck are you doing? Dev stumbles back around the Jeep, just wanting to get the coyote back inside so he doesn't go running off somewhere. The bear already suspects that Cameron is having a mental breakdown, and if they don't get the hell out of here soon, Dev thinks he just might join him. I saw someone. Cameron, slow down. Let me see your face. It felt like it almost broke my arm. No, I know I did. Cameron ignores Dev's paws that are reaching out toward him and starts walking up the road, looking back and forth. Cam. Ugh! The stress of what just happened, along with Cameron barely acknowledging his presence, is too much. He grabs Cameron's arm, forcing him to fully... Oh, sorry. He grabs Cameron's arm, forcing him to turn fully around and face him. What the hell are you doing? Cameron flinches and raises his arms up, crossing one wrist over the other, covering his face like he thinks Dev is going to. Cameron, what? But the coyote just lowers his arms, looking around again. I saw something. Someone. It was like a little kid sitting on the road. Didn't you see them? Devon wants to ask why Cameron acted like he was going to get hit, but the coyote is in such clear distress, the bear isn't sure what to say. Then Cameron looks at the Jeep, as if seeing what had happened for the first time. Shit! I didn't mean to crash your car. I swear I saw someone. I wouldn't do that on purpose. Cameron's breath starts to become erratic, grasping for air. Honey, come here. I can't breathe. Dev wraps his arms around the coyote, even as he starts to try and pull away. Let go. You need to go. Listen, Cameron, breathe with me. Dev presses the side of Cameron's head into his chest and takes a deep breath. Remember? In and out, slowly. Devon keeps his voice upbeat, his expression cheerful, the complete opposite of what he's actually feeling right now. Excuse me again, holy shit, I keep burping. But showing how distressed he clearly isn't helping the situation. So this breathing exercise is also for his benefit. The last time they'd done this was at least a few years ago now. And like the last time, it begins to work, or it seems to work. The coyote fighting his gasping for a minute before his breathing becomes more steady, albeit a little shaky. They breathe in unison for a few minutes, the bear stroking Cameron's head like he had only half an hour ago in the motel room. Like he had only half an hour ago. Sorry. Was it really only 2 hours ago that he'd been giddy at the thought of a paranormal investigation with his psychic boyfriend? Finally, Cameron pulls away gently. I'm sorry. Hey, don't apologize. You said you thought you saw someone. I thought I did. I didn't mean to fuck up your car, though. Well, if you thought you saw someone, then I'm glad you did that. Considering how slow we were going, I'd rather the car run into dirt than run over somebody. Now, just hold still for a second so I can check you out. You face planted into my arm pretty hard back there. Dev gently turns Cameron toward the headlights of the still running car, gently running his blunt claws through the fur. I thought it was an otter. I could see the tail and everything. A kid. An otter. Sydney. Shit. One of Devon's claws grazes over a small lump under Cameron's fur on the bridge of his snout, and the coyote winces. Does that hurt? A little bit. I didn't even notice until now. That's probably from my elbow. What about your arm? Are you sure it's all right? Cameron starts doing his own check of Devon's arm. Dude, my arm is Ah! The bear yelps as Cameron prods right into a spot that is suddenly becoming very sore. Did that really hurt that much? Not really. Just surprised me. Really? Yep, see? Bending it without pain. Yeah, I believe you. Just be careful with it. Cameron sighs, looking back at the Jeep. I'm going crazy. The relief Devon had felt after seeing Cameron returning to his usual snarky self deflates at those words. What? No, you're not. We're both on edge right now. Well, it really did feel like I was losing my mind for a minute there. Thanks for helping me. Of course. Now, just gotta check out the damage. Yeah, the back wheels aren't even touching the ground. Well, I'll have a better look. Hang tight, babe. All right. Devon starts to analyze the status of his Jeep, and he can tell right away that they aren't going anywhere. Both fronts are almost blurred in the sandy trench below, and both of the back wheels are definitely off the ground, the undercarriage balanced on the road's edge. Still, Dev gets in and, after telling Cam to stand clear, very gently tries to back out. The bear winces at the scraping sounds from the metal undercarriage, realizing how desperate he is to get out of here, considering how hopelessly stupid this attempt is. After realizing he's only spinning the wheels deeper into the dirt, he stops. The bear turns off the engine, sighing and pressing his head against the steering wheel. Sure, it sucked that his Jeep is probably all fucked up now, but that doesn't matter. More than anything, he just wants to be out of Echo. He thinks back on how strange it is that Cameron immediately tried to convince him that he didn't do it on purpose. Devon didn't need to be convinced because he hadn't even considered Sorry, I need to reread that. Devon didn't need to be convinced because he hadn't even considered that he. Fuck, why do I keep saying that? He hadn't even considered that was the case. But because of how he brought it up, Devon quickly shuts it down, deciding that now isn't the time for shitty thoughts like that. Finally, the bear gets out, fixing a smile on his face again so Cameron won't feel so bad. All right, so Cameron? Dev looks Dev looks around and, to his dismay, spots the coyote a ways up the road toward Echo again, though he's standing off to the side right next to the lake. He's looking over the edge, down at the water. Hey, Cameron, you all right? The bear jogs up to the coyote, putting an arm around him. You all right? Cameron finally turns to look at the bear. Yeah. Stay next to me, all right? I want you to be close after everything that's happened. I was just trying to stay out of the way. Are you looking for something? Dev looks over the edge at the murky water below. Almost immediately after, the bear instinctively pulls back, taking Cameron with him. Yeah, just thought that because otters are good swimmers, that maybe. Cameron lets out a fake laugh. Sorry, I'm crazy. Don't mind me. Come on, don't do that. Cameron goes quiet. Seeing just how unhappy Cameron is, the bear takes a deep breath, deciding to tell him. Back in the early 2000s, an otter kid drowned in this lake. I wonder if maybe that's who you saw? Really? Yeah, along with a few dozen other people over the last 70 years. I have a list for the lake and the other places we were going to go. So you're saying that I saw that because I'm psychic. You don't seem very thrilled with that idea. I'm not thrilled with any of this anymore. It only reminds Dev that Cameron could see anything, terrible things, and that could lead to more mental anguish for his boyfriend. Anyway, we are stuck pretty badly. What do we do? Don't worry, we got options. We'd want to get to the highway, but it's a bit of a walk. I think about 7 or 8 miles. That might be a bit too much with it being dark and on a half-destroyed road. I think we should try to get a little bit of sleep, then start walking at dawn. We'll have light, and if we keep up a good pace, we'll get to the highway before it gets too hot and be able to flag down help. Cameron is quiet. So, what do you think? Remember a while back when I asked what we'd do if there was an emergency? You said there was still cell service in parts of the town. Did I? Yeah, Dev. You know what I'm talking about. It makes way more sense to find cell service right next to us and call for help rather than walk 8 miles. I don't think it makes much sense at all, Cameron. We were looking for trouble, Devin. I think we'll be fine as long as I'm not trying to see shit. But you just saw! It's silent for a few excruciating seconds. I just wanna get the fuck out of here and get you home! Devin's ears twitch as Dev raises his voice, which seems to reverberate in the silence. But the coyote just goes on standing there, arms crossed like they almost always were. Yeah, psychic, or not. I'm unstable. We both know that already. No. But I'm not walking miles through scorpion and rattlesnake-infested desert when our solution is right there. Babe, please. I have a bad feeling. Sorry, who's the psychic here? Dev, I can do this, trust me. We're outside where nothing's haunted, and we won't be looking for anything, so I'm going. Cameron! I prefer you came with me, though. God damn it! Devon hurries to catch up with his boyfriend, sliding his paw into Cameron's and gripping it tightly. Cameron has a look on his face that he's a bit pleased with himself, and Devon can't figure out why. It's like the coyote thinks he's winning some kind of game, and Devon has to grit his teeth so that he doesn't start an argument all over again. Just an hour ago, Cameron was sobbing after seeing and hearing terrible things, and now he's walking back to the same direction like it's nothing. Maybe the coyote is more resilient than the bear had always thought. And maybe the bear is finding out how not resilient he himself is. His stomach growls loudly, and when Cameron jokingly asks if he's hungry, Devon lies and says yes. In reality, it's from anxiety, something he isn't used to feeling all that often. The bear only finds comfort in gripping Cameron's paw even tighter and promising himself that he won't let anything else bad happen to them. Cameron presses up tightly against Devon's side, breathing in the comforting scent of his cologne. Cam's show of confidence has mostly diminished at this point, especially as they're passing the motel. The coyote has to remind himself The coyote has to remind himself why it is that he insisted on doing this when Dev had offered a perfectly reasonable, if slightly exhausting alternative. Being exhausted is preferable to PTSD. But Cameron could sense the bears beginning to treat him in a way that he didn't like, talking to him like he was fragile, like the slightest touch could tip him over where he'd shatter on the asphalt. He wants to prove that he can deal with this, which is why he has to smirk at himself right now, because he definitely wouldn't have made it this far if Devon weren't by his side. Right now, the bear has a steely grip on Cameron's paw, making it clear that he isn't letting go. Meanwhile, their free paws hold their phones, checking every now and then for a signal. Anything yet? No, we couldn't get signal at the time anyway. Wait, wouldn't we get signal at the same time anyway? Well, I assumed I'd get it first. Oh, because mine's not an Android? Yup. Dude, that's so fitting. Like, a tech bro, an engineer guy preferring Android or Apple. It's funny. If only I had the brain of an engineer to figure out how to work one. Actually, maybe I should turn mine off and let you search for a signal. We should keep some battery life in one of our phones just in case. Oh yeah, good idea. Your battery would probably die before we found service anyway. Cameron turns his phone off while Dev looks on. I wouldn't worry too much about it, though. It's not like we're lost in the woods or something. And I let like 3 people know where we're going. We're going to be fine no matter what, babe. Famous last words, if I ever heard them. Right up there with, here goes nothing, and I think I took too much. Psh, yeah, right. Our last words are going to be, holy shit, we lived to 100! I'm pretty sure I already screwed my chances at that with all the drugs I did. Along with eating fudge cakes for lunch whenever I'm at work. Seriously, Cam? Hey, it's in the vending machine right next to my cubicle. Well, we're changing that as soon as we get back. How are you gonna do that, aside from stalking me at work? I'll make your lunch. They're gonna have us start working from home on Monday, remember? I'll have plenty of time. What is a mechanical engineer gonna do at home? I don't know what mechanical engineers do. Hell, I'd be surprised if they don't start making you work from home soon. We'll be like coworkers. Fat chance. They don't give a shit about our health there. Well, we'll see. Either way, you'll be living to 110, so you'll have plenty of time to think of your famous last words. Jesus Christ. Sorry about that. Got interrupted for a second. Cameron has to wonder if their meandering conversation is purposeful on Dev's part, if only to distract him from what's across the road. Excuse me. God, fuck. I keep burping for some reason. I don't know why. Either way, the coyote is thankful for it. Only if it makes you there. Only if you make it there with me. About 15 minutes later, Cameron starts to become a bit more agitated. They're on a dirt road at this point, and every now and then they walk past crumbling structures of what used to be houses and trailers. Do you think the cell service stopped working since you read about it? I don't know. They said it's pretty sporadic. Who said this exactly? The paranormal forum peeps. I hope they're trustworthy. They are, or at least they have no reason to lie. I think the paranormal gives people incentive to lie, especially if you're not gifted. Sure, but we're talking about cell phone service, not ghosts. Could also be a scheme by those crazy locals to lure their victims into town. You're joking, but I know you're still worried about that. So I'll just point out that it's highly unlikely because that would leave too much of a paper trail. Not that worried, especially now that we've made it this far and nothing. Oh shit! What? Damn it. I just had a bar for a split sec. The bear waves the phone around over his head, spinning in a slow circle. What the hell, Dev? You scared me. Sorry, babe. Anyway, I think it came from this direction. Dev indicates a rather large grouping of trees off the side of the road that forms a bit of a miniature forest. Of course. Why does it have to be the creepiest thing in sight? You want to hang back while I check it out? No. Is that a question? Cameron doesn't respond. Instead, sliding his paw into one of Dev's offering. Oh, sorry. Cameron doesn't respond, instead sliding his paw into the one Dev's offering, and they start to make their way through the sage bush. God, oh God, I can't imagine all the ticks we're picking up. Don't worry, babe. I'll comb through all your fur when we get out of here. Want me to carry you? I'm fine. All right, just don't think about the tarantulas and scorpions. You suck so much ass. Your ass is the only ass I. Ugh. Dev grunts in a heavy, bearish way as Cameron wraps his arms around his neck and lifts his feet off the ground, forcing Dev to bridle carry him. Chuckling, Dev carefully makes his way through the rough terrain while the coyote awkwardly keeps his feet lifted high so they don't brush the sage. Dev finally lowers the coyote near the edge of the forest, and they stand there, looking into the darkness. Cameron can only see the branches outlined against the moonlight, but otherwise it's almost like looking into a void. The feeling of emptiness is emphasized by the suddenly quiet desert around them. So I've got like one bar. Data isn't working. You know, trees should make it harder to get a signal. Can you make a call? Well, I can't open my insurance app, so I don't know what the preferred towing companies are. And I'm just sort of realizing that most probably wouldn't come out here anyway, since Flake Road doesn't technically exist anymore. Flake Road? Something like that. I'm sure it's not that. So we're not getting towed out, and you don't even know the name of the road we crashed on. Are you saying we're stuck here? Like, really stuck? Well, my Jeep probably is, but not us. The highway is still within walking distance, remember? I'm such an idiot. I can't believe I got us in this mess. Hey, don't give a shit about my Jeep. Or I don't give a shit about my Jeep. Besides, I just got an idea. Dev taps his phone a few times, then puts it up to his ear, but only a few seconds before he scowls. What? Call dropped, but it rang for a sec. We are so dead. I've killed us. Oh, stop it, honey. I'll try texting. Who are you texting? An old friend of ours. Who? Damn it. I swear the bar keeps disappearing every time I try to send. I'll try some different angles. Dev is hunched over his phone, tapping away. Cameron just sighs, letting Dev do whatever it is he's doing. Despite the bear's attempts to sorry, ran for a second. Despite the bear's attempts to placate him, the coyote knows that they both know that this is his fault. Why didn't you just tell me what a stupid, idiot piece of shit I am? Cameron doesn't want to admit it, even in his mind, but one thing he liked about Dylan was that he didn't sugarcoat things for the coyote. He'd tell him when he was an idiot, either with words or fists. The coyote turns his attention back to the forest, staring into the dark. Dev doesn't know anything about him and Dylan, and Cameron sure as hell isn't ever going to tell him. Especially that sometimes he was the one to swing first. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wow. I'm out here thinking that Dylan was the one that was just started swinging, but now they were both swinging at each other from time to time? Shit. Oh my god. Now I feel bad. He always lost, but the few hits he'd land always felt worth it. That would be a real treat for you, Dev. Not only is your boyfriend crazy, he's violent too. Does he even know you? At all? A chill goes up Cameron's spine. That didn't feel like his own thoughts, even though it came from inside his head. Cameron moves closer to Devon, rubbing his arms. Oh, just send, damn it. Devon. Just a sec, hun. A few already went through. Just gotta confirm some things with him. The void seems to get bigger, and even though he wants to look away, Cameron can't. He knows he's sensing again, even though he isn't meaning to. I don't know what it was. That's what really bothers me about it. Or, I don't know what it was. That's what really bothers me about it. I think I could handle something like a ghost, but not something like that. So, it was just me and my wife, taking a walk through the old forest like we always did. And then, I don't know, I got this weird feeling and everything went quiet. Then, this voice started, a man's voice, but it was kind of eerie, like it wasn't real. Hard to explain, but it was like it was an electronic thing. A machine. It started yelling at us in this sort of playful way, like it was making fun of us or taunting us. Said things like, "The devil walks beside you," and "I'm taking you to hell." Weird crap like that. It was coming from the tops of the trees, and you could kind of hear it go up and down, come closer, like it was swinging through the branches. And yeah, it scared us, because it didn't make sense. The voice, where it was coming from, what it was saying, none of it made sense, and that's the scary part. So we ran, and then it said some nasty things about my wife, so I picked her up and ran as fast as I could. Later, she told me she saw it over my shoulder, in the trees. I had a hard time explaining it, which I understand because I can't explain it all. She was in a shadow, but she said it was a shadow person that was moving through the branches. She said light bent in a weird way around its body, like it was encased in a glass globe or something. She hadn't said she hadn't said much else about it. She doesn't like talking about it, neither do I. I'm only telling you because I feel like there needs to be a record of it somewhere. Just feels wrong to go out of this life without, I don't know, letting people know that unexplainable stuff happens to a lot of people, and I hope we figure out why. And this might not be important, but I had dreams, or I, but I had dreams afterwards where I'd be in that forest, and this shadow creature would come prowling out into the open, and then sounds would come from where its mouth would be. I'd hear a young man screaming for help, all distorted like recorded on angle. And then, where there'd be his high-pitched laughter. Oh shit! That fucking scared the shit out of me. Oh my god. Shit! Ah! Did you hear that? That laugh? Yeah, it sounded like a drunk dude kind of far away. You screaming was what was shit. You screaming is what made me scream. It was like a cackle, like a cartoon witch or something. It was right next to us. I've heard it before. Well, I wouldn't say it was like a witch. It was kind of high pitched, I guess, but again, it was pretty distant. I think we should go. Why? I think it's just like a drunk hick or something. I'm almost done messaging Artie. Something bangs like a screen door swinging closed, and not very far away. Holy shit, excuse me. Oh my god, I keep burping. Holy shit. I wonder who this voice is. Who's that squealing? That you, Duke? Got me a 12 gauge right here. That'll make you squeal twice as loud if you're snooping around my property again. I swear, I'm gonna change his voice as soon as I see him. Dev's voice drops to a whisper. Holy shit. Then, before Cam can fully absorb what's exactly happening, Dev is pulling him along, running full tilt through the sage bush, toward the road, and back toward Lake Emma. Devon's feet ache from the plethora of rocks he's trampled on, the tough pads on the undersides feeling almost torn up from the rough terrain. He's thankful, though, if only for the fact that he hadn't run himself and Cameron through into a cactus. Dev. Cameron's voice jerks with every running step. We're almost there. Dev huffs and puffs for air, now aware that he's a bit more out of shape than he realized. He hadn't run in earnest for at least a few years. Dev, we're out of the town. The bear slows down, now that his stuck jeep is in sight. What's in sight? Now that his stuck jeep in... Fuck. Okay, I'm getting kind of tired. I need to end this soon. The bear slows down now that his stuck jeep is in sight, and he finally lets go of Cameron's paw before doubling over to rest his paws on his knees, wheezing. Fuck. Give me a minute. Jesus, are you okay? It sounds like you're dying. Dev! My fucking thigh is cramping like a motherfucker. Holy shit. Dev's large rear hits the ground with a thump as he reaches down to massage the back of his thigh. Oh, thank God. For what? Lay on your back. Before Devon can even follow the direction, Cameron takes the bear's right leg and slowly lifts it up, making Dev spasm as a cramping muscle is slowly stretched out. Oh, fuck. This is what I get for not running since, like, college. Cam gently rocks the leg back and forth. Hmm. You've ran since then. Remember that stupid company triathlon thing we did where you carried me on your back and ran across the soccer field? Despite the light conversation, Dev sees Cam looking over his shoulder towards the town. He's waiting for a mob of hillbillies to come raging up the road. Man, I told you, Dev. The people here are psycho. Dev grunts as Cameron stretches his leg back again. I think he wasn't being serious, but yeah, you were right. All the more reason to get the fuck out of here. Dev finally pulls his foot back, gingerly getting to his feet while continuing to rub at his thigh. I've never had a cramp so painful. I guess I'm getting old. Take it easy next time. You were more scared than I was. You said yourself he was just a drunk hick. You forgot the part where he's got a shotgun. Yeah, I'd be more surprised if he didn't have one. You think he's gonna come looking for us? We're not hard to find out here. Sounded like he thought you were some other hick. I think we're fine. I suppose you can put trailer trash in the same category as hick. So that makes sense. We can keep an eye out. We can keep an eye out for right now, though, just in case. Who did you say you were texting again? Artie from college. He just happened to be up and he's still living in Mesa. Said he'd be out right away. So he could be here in like 3 hours. Okay. Mesa. This basically confirms that Aiko was in Arizona, even though in an interview the creator said that this did take place in Arizona, which a lot of Echo fans don't actually realize that this takes place in Arizona. Anyway. Huh. Why Artie, though? I don't know. He was at the top of my contacts list, and I knew he still lived in the state, so I gave it a shot. He can give us a ride, at least, I guess. He's got one of those massive trucks, so we might be able to pull us out. His last message said he'd be here in 3 hours or less. Well, I guess that's not bad. As long as we're out of here by morning, I don't want you getting caught out in the heat all day. We got a shit ton of water, so if I need to cool down... Devon waves his paw at the lake. Cameron stares at the lake, seeming to think, then looks back at Dev. Listen, while we were in the forest, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't see anything, but I think I did some light touch sensing the right way. Dev's upbeat mood disappears in an instant. What? Why would you do that? Well, it kind of just happened, and I made sure not to interact or anything, and it was just fine, at least for the most part. What I heard was creepy. Okay, well now I'm going to tell you to be careful again, because I don't want a repeat of what happened in the motel. Well, like I said, I couldn't exactly help it. Anyway, do you know about a shadow person in that forest that spoke with a distorted electronic voice? Devon is caught off guard. Even I don't remember. Oh wait, no. I remember. I said that earlier when was it John Begay that hanged himself in the closet? No. I think that was probably James Hendricks that hanged himself in the closet out of guilt. They hanged they lynched John Begay in the forest, right? He knows Cameron is trying to take the focus off the fact that he's still messing around with the supernatural in a dangerously supernatural place. But he also knows exactly what Cameron is referring to. The chapter in Haunted Echo, titled Entities of Static, described exactly that. And in the thick of trying to figure out whom to call, he hadn't realized that was the forest. Dev's surprise must be pretty obvious as Cameron grins. No way! Am I right? Cameron's sudden joyous reaction surprises the bear. Well, yeah, yeah, you're right. Can you believe this? Sorry, I don't know why I'm so happy. It's just there's a fucking reason for me being the way I am. I can't deny it anymore. It's hard to explain, but that kind of changes my entire life. I just Cam's bottom lip trembles with emotion, and Dev shakes off his feelings of unease, drawing him to a hug. Come here. I know what you mean, baby. Well, I don't personally know, but I've wanted you to feel that way for a long time. I'm really happy for you. I feel like I can do something. I don't know. Maybe even help people with this. Cameron's voice is muffled against Dev's chest. Oh, sure, of course. Let's find a better place than here, okay? Dev nuzzles Cameron reassuringly, but the coyote doesn't answer. And even though that bothers the bear, he doesn't press the issue, just wanting Cameron to feel happy for now. Okay, I'm gonna end my session here. Wow, shit. Just reading this made me realize, fuck, I don't remember a whole lot of Echo than I usually thought because I'm mixing up the stories, and again, I'm not really familiar with that. I don't remember the like who died when and where, the history of Echo, because that shit's kind of confusing. And actually, I think the first time I've actually read Echo was a few months ago. I think I read it back in January, February, March. I read it somewhere around February, March. So again, my memory is a bit hazy from the events of Echo. But anyway, whew. Thoughts. I honestly don't have any thoughts. It's just pulling me into fuck. What more comes out of this, right? Like this is seriously, again, this is gonna fuck up Cameron in some way. It's gonna fuck up Dev in a lot of ways. Like Devin is already guilty, or Devin is already feeling guilty that he dragged his boyfriend into this. He knows he's actually been a shitty boyfriend, that he's using him for selfish reasons. But Cameron just doubling down, wanting to go back in there. I don't think I get why both of them are the way they are, kinda maybe. I think Cameron is unintentionally starting to lose it, just like his mother did, you know? And when Cameron said if things go south, pull me out, and this is what Dev is doing. Things went south, he's pulling him out. Because these sorts of visions, these hallucinations, they can't be healthy, no matter how positive or how negative they appear to be. Because we know when Cameron's mother died, Cameron's mother died. Before she died, she would just sit at a box fan listening to what the box fan was saying, or if the box fan was speaking, and she was happy that she was speaking to some sort of god in that box fan, and finding fucking shapes in the semicircles, arches, to find a gate to go into, that hey, there might be false gates that you might join, and then she eventually commits suicide under a bridge. Maybe that was her arch, or maybe we don't know if it was a false arch or not, because I'm assuming Lupita is Cameron's mom. Maybe it's a literal gate to hell. And it's just a lot of thoughts. I didn't get as emotional as I did though with the first one, which is good. Things are starting to kick back. This scene was really fucking chilling. Like, holy shit. Oh my god. I know he's kind of a bear, or he's a bear. I know he's a bear, but he kind of looks like he looks like Brian in that scene. But I know Brian's sprite is pretty different in this game compared to Echo, so I can't wait to see him. Anyways, enough of my rambling. If you enjoyed me stuttering and stumbling across my words, and hell, even me fucking burping, that shit's fucking annoying and embarrassing for me. Thanks. If you have any other furry visual novel suggestions, please leave them below. I'll always keep a list of them with me for like ideas for me to read whenever I'm finished with whatever I'm reading. And of course, good night, because it's night for me.